Hey everyone, Adam with Droi Media here, and today I've got a very lovely, very special, very talented guest, my wife, Jordan Go Big.
Hi.
So one of the things that I thought we would talk about today is hiring a freelancer. Now, I do freelance full-time. Jordan helps me run the business, so she freelances a lot as well. She also has the luxury, I guess, of being able to hire freelancers in her day job. So she works in a communication field, and she will occasionally hire freelancers to do video work. And I thought we would talk about that process a bit because it's a process that not a lot of people are super familiar with, and there's always things we can do better when it comes to client and freelancer relationships.
Yeah.
So let's dive right in.
Okay. So since we've only done this video a million times now,
So, third time.
I think that we've kind of got it down.
Yes.
We've got a timer set so we don't talk too much, and I think that maybe the best way to do this is I'm just going to list
Yeah.
the steps that it would take or some steps that I would recommend you take if you wanted to hire somebody. And I've got my handy dandy tablet here to help guide me, and then we can just kind of just dive in and discuss a little bit further. You can give some freelance perspective, and I can weigh in with the perspective of somebody who would be hiring Droi Media. And I guess we can do a little bit of role playing, and I will probably use them as my example for who I would hire.
That sounds great.
So you want to hire a freelancer, and this is going to be geared towards people in video production because that's what Droi Media does for a living. So if you want to hire somebody really, and I get people who, because they know that I run this business, do want to talk about this a lot. And I will say, and I think that we can both agree that the first thing that you're going to need to do is find a video producer, and
a reputable
one. And the best way, and the most common thing I have is people just ask me, or I ask people that I trust within the communication industry. So I just want to hit on that because word of mouth is really important for those of you who are running your own business. I think that Droi Media gets a lot of our business from word of mouth.
Probably like 90% of it, honestly, is word of mouth. Someone passing along that we've done well and they've worked with us before and had a good experience.
Yeah, so you're a communication professional. You start asking around to other people that work in communication in various fields. Go to their website, make sure that you actually like their videos, and if they don't have videos on their website and they're a video production company or don't have a YouTube page, you might, that's it. That's all we need to say about that.
In the video.
So you are happy with their work, maybe you get a couple of options, you look at the videos, you find Droi Media, you really like what they're doing, you feel like they can do what you want or what you're envisioning. So you're going to call them, you're going to maybe email them, call them, it is 2019, and then once you do want to take that step into, I think I'm going to hire them, I really like to have a face-to-face meeting if possible. You can also use, again, technology if it's just not possible, so there's Zoom or Skype. But face-to-face is always really nice, so you get a really good idea as a client what the personalities of the people you're working with are, and vice versa. You can get a good understanding as a freelancer what it is like to work with that client.
Yeah. I actually just had 2 face-to-face meetings today with clients, and we've got a dog here too that can agree face-to-face meetings are the best. There's just kind of like an X factor that you lose in email. At the very least, you got to get on the phone with someone and talk and make sure that you're just a good kind of fit for each other that you're going to work well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the sake of time, I'm going to run through a few a little bit quicker, and then should we dive in? Because I promised we were going to do that, and we haven't gotten to that yet.
All right, let's go.
So as the client, be as involved as you can be, and bring everybody to the table that needs to have a seat at the table. So make sure that everybody is involved at that initial meeting. Once you're at that point, I do recommend that you assign somebody to be kind of the liaison or point person, but we can dive into that in a moment because I already started to digress. You also want to be prepared. You want to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And don't be afraid to ask questions even if you think they're stupid questions.
Yeah, lots of questions.
Yeah, because the freelancer should understand that you don't know everything about video. So ask questions, and then once you do decide to, if you're feeling comfortable, if you're excited, if you're jazzed up, if you get all those good, happy feelings in your stomach and you decide to move forward with that freelancer, there are some things you can do as a client to make their lives easier and to make your relationship better. So lists, you're going to make some lists for them. Some wish lists is what I will call them. You will want to put together a shot wish list, which I like to do the shots I want that are required. We really need those because they absolutely have to be a part of the story. And the dream wish list, maybe if you end up having a little bit of extra time, if you're blessed with a little bit of extra time, your videographer can get those. You also want to make sure that you have lists of any of the, I guess along with the shots, the B-roll, so the types of, that might go together. But as a client, you might not understand just shot lists. So do you want wide shots? Do you want medium shots? Do you need close-up shots? Do you want shots? Do you need shots of this farm? Do you need shots of a toilet flushing? Things like that. You also want to make sure, we do a lot of testimonial-based videos, so if you're thinking that that's something you're going to need, you need, as a client, to make sure that you put a list of who's going to be interviewed together, and you need to put interview questions together. You shouldn't rely on the freelancer to be putting that sort of information together, because you as the client have the best understanding of your company. So you need to make sure that you're just really organized. And then also, this can go on the list family, the lists of lists. You should put together a very detailed itinerary for your freelancer so that when they come to do work on site with your company, they know what is going on, you know what's going on, everybody knows what's going on. I think every successful partnership we have had has been with a client who has put together a detailed itinerary. They know who we're talking to, the people we're talking to know we're talking to them, and that there aren't any surprises for anybody throughout the entire day.
No surprises is kind of like the rule of thumb when it comes to like a shoot day. So like parking needs to be taken care of, those sort of things, all that stuff. And your point person should handle all of that.
Yes, and you bring up a good point. So as a client, you should also take into consideration who, I briefly mentioned it earlier, who do you want your point person to be? So for example, if my communication team decided to hire Droi Media, but there are 7 of us on the team, we assign me to be the point person of the 7 of us. And what that means is that I'm going to be the one that maintains communication with Droi Media. I'm going to be one that speaks as a representative for our team. That way there's not 8 people constantly on an email throwing ideas back and forth. And then I also should be available for those on-site shoots if possible, especially if it is at a location that's accessible to me, because again, maybe something goes wonky with parking. Maybe somebody's questioning why there's a guy wandering around the facilities with a camera. So having somebody from the company be there is really important. You can keep interviewees on track. You also get to make sure that your videographer is doing their job and doing it well. You can't be mad at your videographer if they don't do something, if you weren't there to make sure that it got done and it didn't end up on your lists. So make sure that there is somebody available for that person at all times, because that's very helpful. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's great. Okay. I think that's
Thanks.
A wonderful, comprehensive.
Great.
You are great. It's a comprehensive explanation of point people. But seriously, a good point person cannot be understated. Shoots will go bad or good based on how those people, you as the client, can operate and get all this stuff done, because it's a big collaborative effort at the end of the day.
Yeah. And as a client, this will go on my things that you need to do as a client list. You also need to make sure that you're communicative with the company that you're working with. It took me a while to understand how busy freelancers can be and how full your inboxes can be, even compared to somebody who just works like a regular 9-to-5 in an office. And so make sure that, you're reaching out, you're talking to them, give them a little bit of leeway. When Adam is out on a shoot for another client, he's out on a shoot for another client. So if I send Adam an email, I should be thinking, okay, he might not get back to me right away because he might be out on location shooting something for somebody else right at this minute. And I think that sometimes clients like me who sit at their desks all day and have ready access to email forget that you as videographers, as freelancers, don't always have those luxuries. I mean, if your freelancer's not getting back to you, you absolutely have the right to start calling them and bugging them for sure, but remember that they are in a creative industry where they work weird, wonky hours. So be nice to your freelancers.
And as a freelancer, do everything you can to get back to those people, even if it's at a weird hour. send them an email and just let them know, hey, I got your email. I'll follow up more later when I'm done with the shoot or done with this project.
Yeah. And one more thing to add to my list, I feel like I keep saying that, but it's the end of the week and I'm kind of tired. Creating a timeline for your freelancer and for yourself is so important. A lot of times we go into meetings with clients and they will say that they're like, well, we've got all summer to work on this. We're really not worried about it, blah, blah, blah. And they don't give us a timeline even when we ask for it. And I just feel like things never go well when that happens. I feel like everybody is really rushed at the end. They don't realize how fast a summer is or
how much work production takes.
Yes.
You know, so 2 days before they think they want something done or do, they're calling you, they're on the phone, they're freaking out, you know, and this stuff does take time.
Yes. And as a client, understand that this stuff takes time. Interviews take time. You don't write 20 questions because we recently did a set of interviews where the client had written 5 wonderful questions for us, and each of those interviews ended up taking at least 20 minutes, and adding, you know, and plus or minus with setup.
Oh yeah.
And we fit our itinerary that the client had also created really well, but that's because they didn't overload us with questions. They were organized and they were prepared.
Yeah.
And so, those are all things to think about when you are going to be hiring a freelancer. And really, I think I want to end on trust your videographer, trust that creative person you're hiring. You hire them for a reason. You've looked at their stuff, you know that they put out good work, and you've met with them and you have a good rapport with them. And so do let them come in and guide the process a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that that's really, really important. As a client, it's totally within your rights to have a vision, to have ideas, to bring those to the table, but also know that your videographer, your freelancer, they work for you. They want to do a good job, so trust them.
Yeah. That's a great one to end on.
Yeah.
So as the freelancer, communicate with your client, educate them on what needs to go on. I cannot stress this enough. Just be in context, do your best, and then what's going to happen is that's going to give you better word of mouth for the next client to come along and do this.
Yes.
So anything else you want to add, baby?
The only thing I think I want to add is thank you for hanging in here, and also that we are going to put together a
checklist,
yes.
right? So a freelancer and a client checklist that you can download, and then if you're the client, you can go through and check off all these boxes.
Yep.
If you're the freelancer, you can go through and check off all the boxes. And the name of that game is check off as many as you can during the process of getting freelance video production done, because if you can get all that stuff done, you're going to be in a better spot to have a better video.
Yeah.
And a better experience.
Yeah,
overall.
and you're spending money on it, so you want it to be awesome.
Yeah, and you're making money on it, so you want to make it awesome.
Yes, yeah. I think that's all I have.
Great. So anyway, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sticking around to watch this video. If you like this video and you want more content like this, there's a like button down below. There's a subscribe button down below somewhere too. Thank you for sticking around to watch this, and then we will see you next time.
For a reason. And so you can I start over again?
Yeah. Say it just, yeah.
Are you going to keep this in?
The whole thing. Say the whole thing over again.